So that if you want like window panes, if you want sheets of glass to make window panes from that glass blowing technology, either you have spun glass, which is not perfectly smooth, you end up with like a circular pattern in your window, or you make a cylinder, you blow it into a hollow cylinder, and then you cut it open and then you flatten it. So you keep it hot enough so that it's still kind of half molten, and then you flatten it, and then you have like a cylinder glass. So you take a cylinder, you cut the edge of it, and then you kind of curl it, and then you flatten it. Like imagine that you have a piece of paper that's kind of in a tube. You kind of cut open the tube and you flatten it out, kind of like that. So that's another way of making flat glass. But like the spun glass and the cylinder glass, they're not entirely flat because you're taking like a round shape and then it's mostly flat, but it's got kind of distortions in it. So if you look through a window and the window is not perfectly flat, it's got distortions. It might be those, especially if it's circular distortions. You know it's spun glass because that's how you make circular shapes. So drawn glass is you put a wire. So you have like molten glass. You have a pool of molten glass. You put a wire into the pool and of molten glass, and then you pull the wire up, and the glass sticks to the wire, right? And so then the glass comes up as a sheet. It's like it's like a piece of cloth that you're pulling up by one edge, except that it's molten glass. It's kind of semi-liquid. It sticks to itself, and it also sticks to the wire. So then you put the wire in, you pull it up, and the whole sheet of glass just kind of sticks to the wire, and you kind of pull it up in the sheet. So that's a sheet glass, which is flatter than the other stuff because it's not flattened by hand. Like you don't kind of take a cylinder and then flatten it by hand. You just kind of pull the sheet of it up. So it's flatter, but it's still not perfect because the top of the sheet and the bottom of the sheet is slightly different because it's not entirely uniform. Although if you pull it out well, it's quite good. And then the another way to make glass is to have a bit of molten metal. I don't remember what kind of metal it is. You can look it up on Wikipedia. So what they do is they have a bed of molten metal, and then they pour the molten glass on top of the bed of molten metal. And the metal is heavier than the glass. So when you have two liquids, and one is significantly heavier than the other, then the heavier one will sink to the bottom, the lighter stuff will rise to the top. So then you have molten metal on the bottom and glass on top, and because it's all liquid, it's perfectly flat. And so then as it cools, the glass cools faster than the metal does. And then you take the glass off, and it's perfectly flat because it's liquid on liquid, and it's just kind of sitting there and cooling. And that's how you get really flat glass. So that's glass making. It's fascinating stuff, really, if you are interested. And it also explains. So like you can see the stuff. Like if you look at Windows, you can see the technology in the windows of different buildings, which I think is fascinating. I don't know if you think it's fascinating, but I think it's really fascinating that you can you can read the history of a building like that, right? So the history of the building is reflected in what the glass looks like. Alright, so there's our wood. Let me just get a bit more spruce. And let me put the saplings away. Is that enough? Should I get more oh, wow, we don't have any stone. We really, really don't have much stone left. We're going to have to go mining for stone again. I can make this building entirely out of wood, which is okay, we can do that. But we're kind of having to do that because we're out of stone with a lot of dirt, which I don't really have a use for. We are out of cobblestone. Alright, so we gonna have to mine cobble. Let me put my saplings away. And put apples away. Oh, let's go farming. Let's go farming and let's go trade. Try and get more villagers. Let me get my shears. And we'll go harass the sheep. And then let's just farm for a bit. So the villagers have not come into this house. All the doors are still open here. That's kind of nice. I like that. I like the farmhouse. Why is there a chicken in here? Uh, other architecture technologies you can read too, like steel. Steel for buildings is a relatively new concept. The first big one was the Eiffel Tower, and so the steel frame structure is roughly from the Eiffel Tower onwards. But you know, reinforced concrete is relatively new, but it's like the steel reinforced concrete is relatively new. And there's also some material like bricks and all that. All of that is relevant too. But I guess glass is special in the sense that like glass has been around for so long. The Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, had glass jewelry, which is quite primitive if you consider glass making technology these days. But what they would do is have like they would make beads. So if you kind of put glass in a fire, it would just melt into a bead. And so the ancient Egyptians, they have kind of glass beads that they'd string together into jewelry, which is nice. Glass beads are nice, but it's been around for so long, right? Glass as a material and as a technology, and yet it has continued to develop in so many ways, which is interesting. Wool is here. And that. So we want to breed cows. Breed cows, get leather. Do you want to keep the leather? Neither. I mean, what are we going to use leather for? All right, let's breed cows, get leather, and then we'll trade the leather as well. many cows do we have? Crazy amounts. Alright, let's spam cows. Spamming. Spam. Why am I stuck on our chicken farm? Spamming, spamming, spamming. Spamming. I think that's it. Wait, there's still a few more. Alright, I think that's everything. So what did I use? Like 64, 22, so that's 11 new cows if we rely on the wheat to tell us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that should be the same as before, hopefully. We don't have any butchers, so we leave the pigs. If we have butchers, we can breed the pigs as well. How many rabbits do I have in there? Do I have 4 rabbits? Alright, dude! Alright, well, rabbit just escaped. Let me... So annoying, these things. Ah, rabbits. Never mind, we're just gonna let it... Actually, no, we can't let it run because it's gonna kill our carrots. Why is this allowed? Why is it allowed to run away from you like this? And why does it run so fast? What? Have they ever tested the rabbit? Look how fast it moves. How are you supposed to catch it? I don't understand. Like who designed it? Is what I want to know. Who designed the rabbit? Because it's not actually consistent with the rest of the game. Like the way it moves and the speed at which it moves is not consistent with the way you move and how fast you can move. I mean, there's no rabbit traps either, right? I mean, if you imagine there's rabbit traps, that might be interesting. But there isn't. It just doesn't fit with the mechanics of the game, the rabbits. I also don't really have any string or rotten flesh left to trade, do I? So if I wanna trade with the Fletcher and the cleric. Well, I can check let me just check the mob farm. We haven't checked the mob farm for a while. And we have been tree farming a little bit. So let's see if we got anything. Oh, mushrooms. I guess we don't really need mushrooms. But I should also harvest the mushrooms. So let's see what we have here. A little bit of stuff. I mean, it's not nothing. I should make that path safer, I think. I should probably like put railings there. Like, let me just do that. So only from here to the mob trap. So let me do that and do this so that we're in no danger of actually falling off. And then here we're gonna go like that. And then here we're gonna do that. Right, so now this is safe. So we just kind of walk. We're not gonna... Well, this is a little bit suspect. Let me just do that as well. What did I... Oh, this. Yeah, so now if we just walk, we're not gonna fall off into the chasm. Good. Alright. And then the spider dungeon. Which is down there.